SPG invests in research in three primary areas: genetic improvement, agronomy, and processing and utilization research. We make investments in these areas that are multi-year in scope and look to create a balanced portfolio between investments that improve on-farm productivity of pulses, but also work to increase market demand for pulses internationally as well as here in Canada.
It can vary from disease resistance or herbicide resistance to molecular work in terms of finding markers. So it's anything that falls into the class of genetics and aiming at improving the crops themselves. Basically, improved agronomy practice is a really vital part for the grower. So that has quite a short-term sort of impact on the grower. You know, what are the current issues going on with the grower that we can apply investments to and come up with advice or outcomes from the research that can be directly applied in the improvement of agronomy with the grower.
So the main goal of agronomic research is to empower farmers to grow pulses in Saskatchewan in a more efficient manner. Some of the main issues that we see in lentil production are disease and weed control. So there is a need for SPG, which we are investing in more technology at the CDC at the plant breeding levels to bring new varieties that will have built-in tolerance to different herbicides. This will give farmers better options for herbicide usage.
Our end-use processing and utilization research really tries to determine how and where pulses are the best fit within commercial food products, and to communicate the results of that research to the food industry in order to create more high-value markets for Saskatchewan pulse growers. An example of this type of work is a project that we funded through the Canadian International Grains Institute. This is a 4-year project looking at how pulse flours can be best utilized in commercial food products.
The Chinese people that are making vermicelli noodles in northeast China started to use yellow peas from Canada. So basically they extract the starch and make noodles and package them in all different ways.
There's interest from a number of food companies, both in North America, Europe, and even globally in other markets like China, of increasing the use of pulses. They recognize the health benefits, the nutrition benefits. In many cases, companies tell us that they're sold on those benefits of pulses.
So nowadays, the vermicelli market is purchasing some 500,000 tons a year of yellow peas from Canada, maybe a little bit from other sources, but mainly from Canada, and they seem to be quite happy with how they work.
This research is really aimed at supporting our marketing and promotion efforts in this area. We fund health and nutrition research so that we have marketable information that we can go out to food industry, food companies, and also target to consumers to a certain extent as well.
The benefits of SPG's partnership with the Crop Development Center, or CDC, is that we receive the exclusive distribution rights to all the pulse varieties developed at the CDC. Variety commercialization refers to how we distribute those new varieties and get them to our growers in Saskatchewan in the most efficient and profitable ways possible. We have 2 ways of doing this. The first is through the Variety Release Program, or VRP. Varieties released through the VRP are distributed to select status seed growers in Saskatchewan royalty-free. Select status seed growers are accredited by the Canadian Seed Growers Association and have their plots inspected to ensure they are of the highest quality. Another really valuable component of the Variety Release Program is the clear-field lentils. SPG and the CDC partnered with BASF in 2006 to create the clear-field lentil system, which offers growers in Saskatchewan access to IMI-tolerant lentils. Since 2006, a total of 12 clear-field lentil varieties have been released through the VRP.
There's almost 1 million acres of red lentils on average, I say, the last 3 years. and Maxim is on about 80%. To maintain popularity with growers, it has to be consistently high yielding, which I think it is. You need to have good tolerance to lodging. Nobody wants to harvest a crop that's laying down in the field, so good stem structure is important. And in the case of Maxim, it has that, and it also has tolerance to a herbicide. We will surpass it, but it was really a good one for building up our red lentil industry.
In 2012, the first small-seeded faba bean variety was released through the Variety Release Program. This faba bean variety was specifically designed for Saskatchewan and is small-seeded, which means producers don't need special equipment to produce it.
The one type of faba bean we have is specifically designed for the Middle Eastern market. We're just sending the first 5 containers over there this year of these new varieties, and that's going to be successful. This will be a growth segment in our industry for the next few years.
Pulse breeding is an applied type of research that is directed at producing superior varieties for the producer. The main goals of the pulse breeding program are a little different in each crop species, and they're always oriented at producing superior varieties with higher yield, better disease resistance, sometimes at incorporating new traits such as tolerance to certain herbicides, basically whatever is needed by the grower to produce the best crop they can.
The CDC Pulse program, really it's one of the larger ones in the world. And so we're dealing with numerous crops, lentil, pea, chickpea, faba bean, common bean. So it's a very big program. It's geared to Saskatchewan, of course, which is really one of the key pulse growing areas of the world.
The breeding program returns value to our growers basically by producing superior varieties on a continuous basis in all the different crops that we have breeding programs in. The partnership between SPG and CDC is a long-term agreement, and it's really part of a public-private partnership that includes the growers, represented by SPG, the University of Saskatchewan, the province of Saskatchewan, which fund into it, as well as some federal funding through NSERC in terms of funding a research chair. That public-private partnership is really being held up as a model for the type of cooperation and collaboration that can go on between growers or basically private funders and public funders, either at a provincial or a federal level. Organizations all around the world are looking at trying to put into place very similar partnerships based on that public-private partnership model.
CDC Meadow, which is now the most widely grown yellow pea variety in Saskatchewan, and we guess maybe in the world.
I think our new large green lentil has a lot of things going for it. It's the biggest seed out there. We've got a probably 15% yield advantage over any other lentil, which is big. A little bit of disease resistance and very, very consistent, nice big plump lentil, and consistently out yields all our Czech varieties. So I think it's going to have an impact.